Hello, esteemed gentlemen. When God wants to protect the future, he hides it inside a man no one understands. Let that marinate for a second. Because the truth is, some men don't just walk alone, they carry something the world isn't ready for. Now here's a fact most people overlook. 95% of people are mentally wired to chase validation, trends, and noise. But Sigma males, they're that dangerous, unpredictable 5% who don't just reject the matrix, they quietly rewrite it. And that's exactly why life throws everything at them. Confusion, silence, betrayal, random ghosting from the universe. It's not bad luck, it's not karma, it's not even spiritual attacks. It's divine interference. God doesn't send distractions to Sigma males, he blocks them. Why? Because what they're carrying is sensitive information, codes from the future disguised as gut feelings, strange dreams, and painful solitude. You think they're antisocial? Nah, they're just on airplane mode while downloading instructions from another timeline. So sit tight, buckle up, and turn your attention all the way on. Because once you see what Sigma males are really doing in the shadows, you'll realize they're not avoiding the world. They're preparing to replace it. And if that made you smirk a little, good. That means you're awake. Let's go. Number 1. They don't pray for protection. They move like they're already targeted. Sigma males don't move like the average person because they're not just walking through life. They're navigating a war zone most people can't even see. They don't walk around looking for comfort or clout. They move like someone who knows they're being watched, tested, and even targeted. Not by people necessarily, but by a system that wants to crush anything it can't control. That's why they don't wait around for protection. They don't pray for peace. They don't ask for an easier path. They move as if danger is already coded into the journey, because in their world, it is. When a Sigma male enters a room, he already assumes the game is rigged. He's not there to win according to their rules, he's there to break them without being noticed. That's why his presence feels different. He's not loud, but he's alert. He's not aggressive, but he's surgical. His mind is always 10 moves ahead, not because he's paranoid, but because he knows being relaxed in a world designed to distract is how futures get stolen. Every conversation, every friendship, every opportunity gets filtered through one question. Will this cost me my edge? If the answer is yes, he vanishes, not out of fear, but because he's already seen the outcome. Sigma males have this eerie way of knowing who and what will slow them down long before anything goes wrong. That's not luck. That's intuition trained by years of quiet observation and ruthless self-discipline. And this is what people don't get. Sigma males don't carry themselves like victims. They carry themselves like fugitives from a future that's still loading. They act like they're protecting classified information because they are. Not in a literal way, but in the sense that their ideas, their instincts, their way of being, it's rare. It doesn't fit in the current version of society, and anything rare gets copied, attacked, or diluted. So they stay moving, strategically, quietly, almost like they're one step ahead of an invisible enemy. Because, in a way, they are. And that's what makes them dangerous, not their power, but the fact that they never stop acting like they're already a target. Number 2. They are misunderstood because their vision is not of this era. When Sigma males speak, it's like they're speaking a language most people haven't downloaded yet. Their thoughts aren't rooted in the now. They're wired to what's next. So when they share an idea, a perspective, or a decision, it often feels strange, confusing, or even threatening to the average person. People think they're being difficult, aloof, or too deep, when really they're just operating from a mental operating system that hasn't been released to the general public yet. They don't talk in trending topics. They talk in patterns, probabilities, and long-game consequences. So when they tell someone that a shiny new trend will crash in 2 years or that a power couple relationship is built on emptiness, it sounds pessimistic until they're proven right. By the time others are reacting, the Sigma has already moved on. That's what makes them so misunderstood. It's not that they're bad at communicating, it's that the world isn't calibrated to receive what they're saying. When you're wired to future frequencies, the present feels like static. Conversations about shallow things drain them. Small talk bores them. Trendy ideas feel like kindergarten to someone who's mentally working with blueprints from 5 years ahead. People label them as cold, weird, or even arrogant. But the truth is, the Sigma isn't trying to be special. He's just tuned into something deeper, and it's lonely up there. It's hard to connect with people when your insights sound like riddles to them. Not because you're trying to be mysterious, but because the current culture doesn't have the mental vocabulary to interpret it yet. So they stay quiet more often than not. Not because they don't have anything to say, but because they know the room isn't ready to hear it. Their silence is not emptiness, it's restraint. They're not trying to impress people, they're trying not to overload them. They don't need validation, they need timing. Because when the future finally catches up to the vision they've been carrying all along, only then do people say, "Oh, now I get it." But by that time, the Sigma's already moved on to the next untranslatable truth. Number 3, their life collapses are time portals. When a Sigma male's life falls apart, it doesn't unfold like an ordinary failure. It's not just a breakup, a job loss, or a financial disaster. It's deeper. It's as if the universe hits a hard reset on his entire existence. Not to punish him, but to prepare him. While everyone else sees ruin, what's actually happening is a reprogramming. Everything familiar gets deleted. Relationships, routines, even identity. Not because he did something wrong, but because something bigger is coming and the old system can't handle it. To most people, it looks like he's being broken down. But what's really happening is that he's being rewired. God doesn't waste collapse on the Sigma male. He uses it as a tool because the Sigma can handle it. He doesn't panic when everything crumbles. He doesn't beg for it to be restored. He goes silent. He disappears. And in that silence, something strange happens. The download begins. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's subtle and brutal. His thoughts begin to change. His desires get recalibrated. The things he used to chase now feel meaningless. The people he once depended on now feel foreign. He's not just recovering, he's mutating. His emotional operating system gets stripped down, cleaned out, and reinstalled with a version no one else even knows exists yet. That's why Sigma collapses are never final. They're dimensional. They're portals that take him from one level of consciousness to another. And once he comes out the other side, he's not the same. He moves differently. He sees differently. He stops trying to explain himself because now he understands. He wasn't meant to fit the previous chapter. That chapter had to burn so the next one could be built from cleaner code. Most people try to rebuild what they lost. Sigma males don't. They bury it. They don't resurrect the past, they replace it. And that's what makes them threatening. You think they're down, finished, out of the game. But when they return, they're not who you remember. Because the collapse wasn't the end, it was the upload. Number 4, they see weakness in charisma. Sigma males don't fall for the sparkle of charm or the sound of a well-rehearsed speech. While most people are dazzled by confidence, charisma, and smooth delivery, Sigmas are quietly scanning beneath the surface. They've seen too many people talk circles around the truth, smile while lying, or win attention without substance. To them, charisma isn't impressive. It's suspicious. It's often a mask people wear to cover up the fact that they don't really know what they're doing. In the Sigma male's world, words mean almost nothing if the energy behind them doesn't line up. That's why someone can walk into a room, command it with jokes, stories, and flattery, and yet the Sigma will remain unmoved. He's not antisocial, he just knows how easily people confuse charm with capability. He watches how people react to that charisma, not because he's impressed, but because he's learning who's easily manipulated and who's grounded. Sigma males operate from silence. They trust tone over talk. They study micro-behaviors, the delayed reaction, the forced laugh, the subtle contradiction between what someone says and what their body reveals. And if someone is too polished, too rehearsed, too hungry for validation, the Sigma registers that as weakness, because real confidence doesn't need applause. Real power doesn't advertise itself. This is why Sigma males often seem skeptical or cold around charismatic people. They've learned the hard way that the louder someone is, the more likely they're hiding something. Not always, but often enough to develop a pattern. And patterns are what Sigma males live by. They're not looking to be entertained. They're looking for alignment between speech and truth, posture and purpose, confidence and competence. When that alignment is missing, no amount of charm can save the interaction. Sigma males will quietly disengage, not to be rude, but because they've already seen through it. To them, charisma is a costume, and they're not interested in watching another performance. Number 5. They don't respond fast because they're decoding reality. When a Sigma male takes his time to respond, people often misread it. They think he's bored, distracted, or just emotionally distant. But that's not what's happening. He's not ignoring the conversation, he's decoding it. While everyone else is reacting in real time, the Sigma is scanning for what's not being said. He's reading tone, body language, gaps between words, patterns in behavior, and the energy behind your question. He's not slow, he's surgical. Most people communicate on the surface level. They hear a sentence and respond based on words alone. The Sigma male doesn't trust the surface. He sees conversation like a puzzle, and before he opens his mouth, he's checking every hidden piece. What triggered the question? Why was it phrased that way? What's the emotional temperature in the room? What isn't being said, and why? That's why his pauses can feel uncomfortable. His silences carry weight. People start fidgeting, over-explaining, trying to fill the gaps. But the Sigma isn't stalling. He's letting truth reveal itself. Sometimes, in just waiting a few seconds, people expose themselves. They say too much. They reveal their real motive. And the Sigma, he's already processed it. This ability to read invisible layers makes him seem unpredictable, but he's the exact opposite. He's precise. And that precision takes time. He's not interested in impressing you with quick answers. He's interested in accurate ones. That's why his replies are often short but razor sharp. He speaks only when the signal is clear. No noise, no fluff, just the distilled core of what matters. People who rely on emotional validation can find this unsettling. They want instant reactions, nods, compliments, or outrage. But Sigma males don't offer reactions, they offer reflections, cold, unfiltered, and often deeper than what you were prepared for. So when a Sigma male doesn't respond right away, don't mistake it for apathy. He's not zoning out. He's watching, processing, decrypting. He's seeing angles you didn't even know existed. And by the time he finally speaks, he's already seen the next 5 moves in the conversation, and possibly the next 5 moves in your life. Number 6. They don't adapt to environments. They bend them. Sigma males don't enter a room and scan it for how to fit in. They scan it for how much distortion they're about to cause. They're not there to adjust. They're there to influence without even trying. While most people shift their tone, posture, or energy to match the environment, a Sigma male holds his frequency steady like a quiet disruptor, and without saying a word, he alters the entire atmosphere. People feel it before they understand it. The tension rises, conversations shift slightly. The loudest person in the room suddenly pulls back a little. Eyes glance toward the Sigma more often than they realize. Even those who would never admit it begin adjusting their behavior, but they don't know why. That's because the Sigma doesn't walk in with noise or force. He walks in with presence, a calm intensity that unsettles anything fake and exposes anything shallow. It's not intentional arrogance, it's just that Sigma males carry a psychological pressure most environments aren't prepared for. They carry unresolved energy, untamed focus, quiet rebellion. Their vibe doesn't say, "Look at me," it says, "Check yourself." And people do. You won't see them doing anything flashy. They don't command attention with volume or movement. They command it by holding their own reality so strongly that everyone else's starts to shake a little. It's not magic. It's sovereignty. And most people aren't used to being around someone who doesn't need approval, applause, or permission. This is why you'll rarely see a Sigma male molding himself to fit a group, a culture, or a trend. If the environment isn't aligned, he doesn't perform. He disrupts. And if the space can't hold his energy, he doesn't shrink. He just makes the room feel too small. People either level up or get uncomfortable. There's rarely a middle ground. Sigma males don't conquer spaces, they reformat them. Without raising their voice, they change the rhythm. Without giving advice, they shift perspectives. Without asking for attention, they make people reflect on themselves. Because when a Sigma walks in, he's not entering your environment. You're entering his field. Number 7. They don't get over things, they archive them. Sigma males don't move on from things the way most people expect. They don't cry it out, forgive blindly, or pretend it never happened. When someone betrays them, lies to them, or shows inconsistency, the Sigma doesn't explode. He doesn't even react much, he observes. Then he files it away, not with bitterness, but with precision. Like a black box recording every detail of a plane crash, he stores it in his internal archive for future reference. To outsiders, it looks like he's let it go. But that's the difference. He didn't let it go. He absorbed it. Not to carry it as emotional baggage, but to upgrade his navigation system. The Sigma male treats every experience, especially the painful ones, as code. And once that code is logged, he becomes harder to fool, harder to reach, and impossible to manipulate the same way twice. This is why Sigma males seem cold after a betrayal. It's not because they're holding a grudge, it's because the data has changed. You're no longer who you used to be in his system. Trust isn't erased, it's recalculated. Access is revoked, not out of revenge, but out of efficiency. He doesn't hate you. He just doesn't waste memory on people who've proven they crash systems. What makes this different from emotional repression is that Sigma males aren't avoiding the pain. They're processing it at a strategic level. The emotions are there, but they're translated into clarity, not chaos. Every letdown becomes a filter. Every lie becomes a pattern. Every silence becomes a signal. This is why they rarely fall for the same trick twice. They don't give second chances because that would require forgetting the first impact. And Sigmas don't forget, they index. When they interact with someone who's hurt them before, they're not angry. They're just updated, detached, less open, more exact. So when people say, "You never got over that," the Sigma thinks, "No, I didn't. I just stored it where I keep all my intelligence." Because for him, memory isn't about holding on to the past, it's about securing the future. Number 8. They see fake morality as psychological warfare. Sigma males have an uncanny ability to smell fake morality from a mile away. The moment someone starts publicly performing their goodness, over-explaining their intentions, or constantly reminding others how kind, loyal, or spiritual they are, the Sigma instantly goes quiet inside. Not because he's impressed, but because he's scanning for the manipulation beneath it. He knows when morality is being weaponized, and to him there's no red flag louder than someone who constantly needs the world to believe they're a good person. Where most people see virtue, Sigma males see tactics. They've watched too many people hide behind charity, religion, social causes, and virtue signaling, only to use those masks as cover for control, guilt-tripping, or ego-building. They understand that fake morality isn't about doing what's right, it's about looking good while doing it. It's not about impact. It's about image. And in the Sigma's world, image without substance is a form of warfare, psychological warfare. That's why Sigma males never shout about their values. You won't catch them announcing how honest they are, or how real they keep it. They live their code silently, like a shadow carrying a blade. Their integrity isn't a costume, it's a reflex. They don't need credit for doing the right thing, and they don't need applause for keeping their word. That kind of validation is meaningless to them. In fact, the more someone demands to be seen as moral, the more suspicious the Sigma becomes. This is what unsettles people about them. You can't guilt-trip them. You can't emotionally blackmail them with, "If you were a good person, you'd do this." That strategy collapses in front of a Sigma because he doesn't respond to performative ethics. He responds to truth, clean energy, and unspoken principles. And when those are missing, no amount of emotional storytelling or moral posturing can move him. To the Sigma, fake morality is a distortion of reality. It's a way to control perception. And that kind of manipulation, no matter how sweet it sounds, gets marked in his mind as a threat, quietly, permanently, because real morality doesn't ask for attention, it just is. Number 9, they don't break down, they go off-grid. When Sigma males disappear without a trace, most people jump to conclusions, thinking it's because they're depressed, overwhelmed, or running away from problems. But that's the wrong story entirely. When a Sigma goes off-grid, it's not a breakdown, it's a deep, intentional shutdown. They're not escaping reality. They're retreating from the noise to sync with something far beyond what anyone else can touch. This isn't about hiding. It's about tuning in. In a world saturated with distractions, demands, and meaningless chatter, the Sigma male knows that the only way to access the next level is by disconnecting completely. When he vanishes, he's intercepting signals, divine blueprints, gut instincts, future codes that can't be heard or seen on the usual frequency. You can't text him. You can't find him on social media. You might not even get a response to your calls, but it's not because he's checked out of life. It's because he's checked into something else, a deeper layer of himself, the universe, or whatever force you want to call it. During this silence, the Sigma is recalibrating his mind, body, and spirit. He's sorting through chaos inside to create order outside. He's shedding old versions of himself to make space for what's coming. This phase might look like loneliness or avoidance, but it's more like strategic solitude, a sacred pause that prepares him to come back stronger, sharper, and more aligned with his mission. It's almost like he's a lone operator in a high-stakes game, pulling back from the battlefield to review classified intel before making the next move. And because this process is invisible and silent, it often gets mistaken for weakness or instability. But it's the exact opposite. It's power stored, patience mastered, and vision refined. So when a Sigma male disappears, don't assume he's lost. Assume he's becoming something the world isn't ready for yet, and trusting the silence to get him there. Number 10. They're not driven by hope. They're obsessed with patterns. Sigma males don't run on hope. It's too fragile, too fuzzy, and too easily shattered. While most people lean on hope like a safety net, clutching at wishful thinking when reality gets tough, Sigmas are obsessed with something far more concrete: patterns. They don't wait for miracles or positive vibes. Instead, they watch the rhythms of life, the repeated mistakes, the subtle shifts in behavior, the cycles that keep spinning unnoticed by others. This obsession isn't some cold, calculating detachment. It's a razor-sharp focus on cause and effect, data points, and invisible signals that connect the dots. Hope is emotional fluff. It gives people comfort, but rarely results in action or insight. Sigma males, on the other hand, collect information like a detective, building mental models of how people and systems behave over time. They notice the tiny glitches in others' stories, the delays in reactions, the habitual patterns of failure or success. These patterns become their secret codebook. When the Sigma predicts a crash, a betrayal, or a breakthrough, it's because he's seen the blueprint etched in repeated history and subtle signs, long before anyone else has caught on. This is why their insights feel almost psychic, but are actually grounded in ruthless observation. They don't get blindsided by the unexpected because they don't rely on hope to shield them. They rely on patterns to guide them. And that's why they're often eerily accurate while everyone else is still guessing. Hope is soft and vulnerable. Patterns are hard and unforgiving. Sigma males choose the latter because it gives them control in a chaotic world. They don't dream about the future, they decode it. And that's what separates them from the crowd, their ability to read the unseen currents beneath the surface, then move with certainty where others hesitate. They don't need to hope something good will happen. They already know what's coming, and they're ready for it. Number 11. Their dreams are not wishes, they're warnings. Sigma males don't indulge in the kind of dreamy, hopeful fantasies that most people call dreams. Their dreams aren't idle wishes or comforting scenarios. They're encrypted messages from their subconscious, packed with warnings, patterns, and premonitions that most people either overlook or dismiss. While others might brush off a strange dream as nonsense, the Sigma male listens carefully because he knows those nocturnal images aren't random. They're a form of intel. These dreams are like encrypted blueprints of possible futures, layered with symbols and scenarios that map out dangers, opportunities, or shifts before they even happen in waking life. Instead of losing himself in fantasy, the Sigma is busy decoding, translating, and interpreting what his mind is trying to tell him. That's why his dreams often feel intense, unsettling, or oddly specific, because they're not meant for comfort. They're meant for survival. Most people shy away from their dreams when they get too real or too dark. Sigma males don't. They lean into that discomfort because they understand the value of the message. What others call nightmares, he calls data. When he wakes up unsettled, it's a signal, not just a mood. It's a call to adjust course, rethink a plan, or brace for change. This makes their approach to life fundamentally different. While the crowd chases pleasure and avoids pain, the Sigma male is constantly scanning for hidden risks, reading the shadows in the subconscious, and preparing for what's coming long before it arrives. Their dreams act as a silent alarm system, warning them of cracks in the facade of reality. Because for a Sigma male, dreams are not escapes, they are early warnings. Ignoring them isn't an option. Decoding them isn't optional. They're the secret maps guiding him through a world that most can't even perceive yet. Number 12. They're silent because language fails their mind. Sigma males often sit in silence, and many mistake this for shyness or aloofness. But the truth is far deeper. Words simply can't keep up with what's happening inside their minds. Their thoughts move at a speed and complexity that language wasn't designed to handle. When you're processing layers of reality, patterns, emotions, and possibilities all at once, the usual back and forth of conversation feels like slow motion, like trying to explain a symphony with just a few notes. Because language is limited, they don't waste energy trying to fit vast, intricate ideas into simple sentences that will inevitably fall short. Instead, they choose quiet. Silence becomes their refuge and their tool. It's in the silence that they think, analyze, and synthesize information far beyond ordinary comprehension. Speaking too soon or too much risks diluting or distorting what they're really grasping. This silence isn't emptiness. It's the space where their mind unfolds the future. It's where they juggle complex mental models, test hypotheses, and weigh consequences before ever committing to a word or action. The Sigma male's quietness is a sign of mental depth, not a lack of ideas. When they finally speak, their words are chosen with surgical precision. Every sentence carries meaning because they've already done the hard work in silence. That's why their contributions often surprise others. They're not the product of idle chatter, but the distilled essence of hours or even days of internal processing. So don't mistake their quiet for weakness or disinterest. It's the language of minds too vast and fast for everyday conversation. They're silent not because they lack thoughts, but because words are simply too slow to catch up with what they already know. Understanding Sigma males means stepping into a world where silence speaks louder than words, where the unseen is more powerful than the obvious, and where patience is not weakness, but an armor forged in the fires of relentless observation. They don't simply move through life. They recalibrate the very fabric of reality around them, often unnoticed, often misunderstood. To label them as distant or aloof is to miss the profound depth of their internal universe, an intricate web of patterns, coded experiences, and future visions that most will never comprehend. What sets Sigma males apart isn't just their refusal to follow the crowd or their quiet intensity. It's their mastery over the unseen forces shaping the future. They don't rely on hope, empty promises, or superficial connections. Instead, they archive every detail, decode every hidden message, and bend environments to their will, all while remaining profoundly disconnected from the noise of society's constant demands for instant reactions and surface-level validation. They live in the future's shadow, carrying encrypted warnings in their dreams, and moving with a calculated calm that unsettles those who thrive on chaos and spectacle. Their silence is not absence. It's a complex language that speaks of awareness, patience, and strategy far beyond ordinary comprehension. And when they finally choose to speak or act, it's with a precision that cuts through pretense and reveals truths most would rather ignore. To truly grasp the essence of Sigma males is to recognize that their greatest power lies in what remains unseen and unheard. They are the quiet architects of tomorrow, silently reshaping the world while others are distracted by fleeting distractions. And in that silence, in that depth, lies the secret to a future only they can envision and ultimately command. So, don't mistake their quiet for weakness or their solitude for disengagement. Instead, understand that beneath that still surface is a mind operating on a plane so advanced, it makes the ordinary seem trivial. Sigma males don't just hold secrets of the future, they are the future, quietly waiting for the right moment to unfold. If this insight into the hidden world of Sigma males resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next deep dive into the minds shaping tomorrow. Like this video if you found it eye-opening, drop a comment below to share your thoughts or experiences, and be sure to share it with anyone who's ready to see beyond the surface. Your support fuels this journey into the extraordinary. So let's grow this community of thinkers who refuse to settle for the ordinary. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.